Feels like Hunter's really kind of gotten in a rhythm at the plate these last 2 weeks. What have you seen clicking for him?
I think just him being himself. You know, you start a new year and maybe you're in an elevated position, or you're trying to create a theme that's different or the same from last year. At the start, it can muddy the waters a little bit, or it can just be the game. Like, people now know who you are. They're going to try and, you know, it's when you step in the box, they have a plan, and maybe guys are excited to get you out because they saw you do something on TV. So I couldn't put quite a thumb on it for you, but I think we're looking at more just what's true to who he is, whether it be his swing or his approach, the results evening out. So I kind of feel like it's just more of that. And if you just keep playing, no matter who you are, if you just keep competing, you'll settle into whoever you are. And he's always going to compete. So that would be my best explanation on that.
I know you have a specific plan on the mound on Tuesdays, but Loy, how much confidence do you have just to let him go to be kind of extended?
Yeah, a lot. I think in a certain situation would feel great about getting 5 innings out of him because you know he's conditioned to do so. He's been pretty equal to lefties and righties, a little better to lefties, and he's going to compete and throw strikes. So there's a trust level there that not that that's not there with other guys, but you know, as a coach, you're looking for, no matter whether it be catching or pitching or hitting, you're looking for a little Linus blanket, and he's a moderate version of that for now. He's a freshman, so we can't give him too much credit. But yeah, we want to use a lot of guys tonight, and I mean, it'd be a fun little debate with all of us here who was the best pitcher of the day, because there's a lot of guys that could vie for that, but it was exciting how well each one of them threw the ball.
Christian said before the season, when he wrote down his home run goals, he's far surpassed that number this season. Has he surpassed your expectations? What you expected power-wise from him this year?
He failed to meet my expectations. I'd prefer you not write down a number of home runs you got to hit, but I also wasn't good enough to hit them. So guys like the big boys we're about to see this weekend, I know you guys will ask. I mean, you can start with Petrie, but there's some physical guys in that lineup. So maybe when you're that good, you can do that. But no, I mean, at the heart of your question, I don't think you really put a cap on guys like him and Burke, because since they've been here, they came in really talented, and then they keep on this steady incline. So where does it stop? Who am I to say it's going to stop here, or this guy can only do this? So that's kind of the easiest way for me to explain that one.
Where's AJ Russell at, and what's he been able to do maybe in the past week or so?
Yeah, he threw a pen today, and you know, felt good, and he's been on the mound a couple times now, and so it's kind of time. And I've been open whether I should or not. It's not like we don't want to use the weapons we have, but if we can have success without them, it buys both of us time. Because the one thing I can tell you with 100% conviction, everyone has to heart his future. In the microscope of it, or the shorter term of it, is next year, where he'll be a leader of a staff and be a huge part of it on the mound. And then also we all know, you know, what he has shown you guys, he could play for a long time. So now, having said that, if he goes through all the steps and he's ready to go, he's a competitor, he's a great teammate. Our guys want him back. I'd like to see him out there. So it's kind of, where does it all kind of meet? And we're kind of to that point now where it's time to decide what's the best way for him to get back out there. And so we'll hook up and kind of meet and make sure, first of all, he feels good. Because there's been times where he's thrown, and if he doesn't feel good, then we stop in our tracks or even backpedal a little bit. So today's bullpen was good. We'll see how he feels tomorrow. And then in an ideal world, it's time to start strategizing when would he throw in a game for us.
What are kind of the last hurdles then, I guess, if he was to get to a game, what do you have to see?
I've told you guys this, and again, just from I didn't know what I was doing, but being a pitching coach at Missouri, the little stamp of approval was, let's face some of our guys first, because the adrenaline kicks up when a guy might be swinging the bat, because, you know, to get him out when he's just standing in is to locate. To get him out when he's standing in and swinging is different. So that adrenaline kicks in, and which is a good thing for your body and your arm. But I'd prefer you face some of our guys and then get organized on what the next best outing or best day is.
How tough is he a guy to explain the big picture to? Because I'm sure, you know, some guys are competitors, a lot of them are, and they want to be out there.
Right.
Is he a tough guy to kind of hold back a little bit?
He's from a very intelligent family, and so he's very intelligent and very realistic. So when he is in street clothes, it's like talking to a full-grown adult. It's easy. When he's in uniform, it's not. And you know, the one time out there against Mississippi, he wanted to keep throwing in the game, or at least throw a few pitches and see how he felt. So the bottom line is, last year he would be telling Richard Jackson, "I want to be in the game." And I think anytime he's had the ball out there, you know, Texas Tech, for instance, would go take the ball out of his hand because we've reached pitch count, and he wanted to fight me for a brief second. So it's nice that he's kind of that, I don't want to say split personality, but I think you know what I'm getting at.
You mentioned them earlier, but what does South Carolina do well? What are the challenges that they'll present this weekend?
I don't know how they did last weekend, but as far as like when you kind of run into them and you're looking at opponents or stuff comes up, I know their bullpen has guys with really good stuff, which, shocker, you know, in our league. So that's kind of the theme. So we'll start to pick those guys apart a little bit as far as preparing, or at least take a look at them. And then offensively, there's just a lot of experience in there, and there's good balance too between left and right-handed hitters. So a couple guys that went from Vanderbilt to there, a couple guys that have been there for a while, and then a couple guys that, you know, played last year that were young. And, you know, by age, you're not going to be too old in this league, especially if you're a sophomore, but if you rack up a bunch of at-bats and kind of see what it all looks like, and now we're at the end of a second season, now you are kind of an older guy that's got experience.
What you like about what you saw on the mound today? I know you mentioned it.
Yeah, I just think, I wasn't here yesterday. It almost looked like they had a meeting and said, this is how we want to throw the ball today. And I know it wasn't perfect. I mean, you know, Hundley was throwing about as well as he did, and you give up a hit, it's cost of throwing strikes, and maybe we did have a couple walks. I forget what the box score said, but Matt Dallas looked like, I want the ball, and Marcus Phillips looked like, I want the ball, and you know, he kind of finished on that high note. I'm not a big velocity guy, but he's one of those guys that's more accurate the harder he's throwing, and we've kind of shown our hand this year. He's not going to throw 6 innings in a game. It's more likely to be 6 hitters. So when he cuts it loose like he did today, it's kind of exciting. So, you know, overall, I think, you know, the one game against Lipscomb, we didn't pitch very well, but it's not easy to go through 56 games, and we're not there yet. You know, you only have a few blips on the radar screen where you're not sure what you're getting out of your guys. So they've been very dependable, and they've been a Frank Anderson type pitching staff, but they got a really good challenge, as we mentioned, that lineup, you know, coming this weekend, and the regular season is, in my opinion, is far from over.
How important is an offensive night like tonight coming off that shutout on Sunday?
The first 9 runs were great. The last one, I already used my cuss word in my in-game interview on Sunday, so I won't do one now, but I'd like to. I mean, I don't know. I've had it with that. I've recommended people to be on the board, or like when we have our SEC meetings, to be the ones that speak first and all that. And I am way down the totem pole, and I ain't trying to be humble, but I'm kind of over this whole deal here. 10 ain't a lot. I don't know why that's the number. And Reese Chapman hits a home run, and everyone's bummed out. That's not good. That doesn't make sense, you know. But to answer your question and quit trying to act like I'm the commissioner of baseball, everybody in the starting lineup, other than one guy, had an at-bat they could kind of hang their hat on, you know, which is awesome, because no one got a full day really. And yet each guy back us at the bottom, 2 at-bats. Simo kind of salvages the day as a center fielder, you know, right-handed hitting Ken Griffey there. Not very good defensively on that one play, but he hits a homer, and everybody in between. You know, Burke's last ball, he didn't get a hit, but smoked it. So the scoreboard showed some runs, and then some guys got something, again, they can kind of hang their hat on going into the weekend.
They're all important, I know, but how important is this weekend to finish the right way before you enter this new phase of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, you know, everybody says we get hot at the right time, but some of the teams that have been labeled hot, they didn't even start till it didn't go so well at the end, or at Hoover, you know. So I just think each time we want to put on the uniform, we want to compete and do well. And then you do want to look for reasons. Kind of the Michael Jordan thing is like, you kind of always searching for motivation. This is our place. We come to work every day. We love playing here. Now that the weather's been warm, the crowds are getting better and better. So there's a lot of things wrapped into why you should appreciate the opportunity on Thursday night. And you could even throw into that piggy bank. Yeah, tonight was a bounce back win after Sunday, but it was a non-conference game. Thursday's an opportunity to get back after a conference game, whereas the last one was very frustrating. So I think the easiest and best thing to do for staff and players is hone it into Thursday. School's out as of Thursday. There's another one for you. So there's a lot of reasons to come to the park with some energy, be grateful, and make sure you compete your butt off. And you're doing all those things because you do want to win that game. And then after that game's over, we'll assess what's going on with day 2, which is Friday this weekend.
Christian Moore
Last one.
tied the single season home run record with that 9-0 bomb. What has he meant to the legacy of this program since you took over?
I just think winning, like, I know Vince Lombardi took crap for saying winning at all costs type of, that's not what he said, but a phrase to shrink it. And so, for us when we first got here, people didn't believe they could win. I don't know that we needed to work a little harder to win. So everything's pushing forward as a winning approach. And then if you do well enough, you'll get some feedback from the game that's either a homer or a win. And he and Blake Burke are winners. And so they find ways to do different things, whether it's a hit in the first inning or a hit in extra innings with the game on the line, extra base hits, or just getting on base. I mean, Simo reached on an error the first AB, but he was 0-2 in a hurry and then extended it, 5-6 more pitches, puts the ball in play. Everybody knows he's a green runner, so maybe you hurry a little bit. So just winning is the word that comes to mind. So when their time is over, I don't mean to sound like a jerk. I mean, I'll high five and I'll be all for like the individual accolades and like, that's a pretty cool record, or that's a big number of this or that. But I think in the current moment, the thing that sticks out is those guys are winners, and they've evolved at how they would be labeled that,
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.